window.
Well, when did you see me then?
No.
So, there's this giant knife or blade, like one of those things that they used to do to dehead witches and stuff. Chops off her head. Her brother gets up and starts screaming because his sister's dead. Sit right back. So they get, and the little girl runs towards the wall, the back, and the brother thought she was gonna puke. He said, "Don't worry." She said, "I'm not worrying." She gets an evil look. You're the one that should be worried when my uncle gets here.
I haven't heard this song. I can't remember. I thought I heard it. I can't remember.
They're freaking out.
I watched this movie though.
They said, "What do you mean, your uncle?" She said, "Oh, did I say my uncle? I'm not my dad. My daddy." Now they're kind of confused. Like, you just said your uncle, now your daddy. Make up your fucking mind. In comes a guy, 6'5", so Jason's height, Jason Voorhees' height, wearing overalls and a pig mask, holding the boyfriend's knife, or the son's knife, the eldest son's knife. She looks up to him and says, "I did my end of the bargain by making these fuckers come here. Can I have my suit?" The father or uncle or whatever he was takes out overalls from a drawer, gives them to her, and gives her this pretty doll mask. It's not very pretty if it's made out of human skin and has barbed wire in the back to hang on. She puts it over her head and whams it into her skull so that it stays on right.
This is creepy.
She takes the chainsaw, turns it on, and gives it to her dunkle. Dad and uncle.
Dunkle, I get it. Shit.
He runs at the boyfriend. The boyfriend uses the machete and throws it at him when he's starting to run. The little girl runs up and runs to him and puts him on and kicks him in the back of the leg, so he drops, and when the blade misses him, she gets on his back to jump and kill him, and through the nose with the machete. Goes through the back of her skull, and there's brains on the machete. She falls on the floor. The blade gets caught. Her uncle or father gets up, looks at her, and runs at the boyfriend again. The girlfriend runs past, grabs the machete, rips it out, throws it at the boyfriend. The boyfriend, it lands into the wood. The boyfriend moves out of the way of the chainsaw, grabs the machete, and has to watch the chainsaw to make sure he doesn't get caught. This is the weirdest thing. The girlfriend grabs the little girl from the dead corpse from the legs and whacks it at her father or uncle.
Her dunkle.
Her dunkle. He falls, and she keeps whacking him. The boyfriend grabs her from the hand with his hand that he got cut, and he's kind of screaming, because that gotta hurt, because you got a blade here through the middle of your fingers and your thumb. He grabs her and pulls, and they run. They run back to their camper, where this weird guy comes out of nowhere and says, "Are you guys okay?"
Is he hippie?
Kind of. He has white hair and he looks around 85 or 86.
So he's a hippie.
He said, "Are you guys alright? Do you need help? Do you need help getting to your truck? That's only 2 miles away." The boyfriend looks at him and says, "How did you know my truck's only 2 miles away?" The old man looks at him and says, "Oh, it is? I was just thinking that was your truck that was up there." mean, since you guys have been here for like 2 nights, because it took 1 night to find the right spot, and that night, you guys have been about here 2 nights, you know, and we've been watching you. Who are we? A girl walks down with blonde hair. The boy thinks that he knows her from somewhere. She runs down and notices him. Aren't you my daughter's sis? Aren't you my daughter's friend's brother? Have you seen my daughter? He puts his head down and says, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but your daughter died from a serial killer." He had no idea who he is. Who is, though. She's getting a sad look, and she starts laughing. Right, no. The old man takes out this coat hanger, sorry. It's a metal one. He puts it in the fire that was lit when they got back. And he starts going like this against his face with it, and scraping the little skin off, and eats it because he's like, gross. So he takes, and the girl takes out a knife and says that my daughter didn't deserve to die. You or your sister did, or your girlfriend. The boy looks at her and says, "My sister is dead. Her head was cut off." And she says, "So my brother didn't kill you." And the old man looks at her and says, "Henry Jr. couldn't kill shit." The son looks at the old man and says, "So Henry Jr. is your son?" The old man shakes his head. He says, "Your name is Henry." He shakes his head. "You're 86, 85? 85 and a half. Why do you ask?" "Well, how well do you know these woods?" "I've known them since 1963. I don't know how old that makes him, because this happened in 2014.
1963?
Yeah, it's like years ago. Anyway.
1,000 years.
And, no, not 1,000,
Shut up,
dumbass.
let's keep going.
And he says, since 1963. And the boy says, "So you've lived here about 80 years, 85 years. "Yep." Were you the serial killer that is supposed to be dead?" "So, how'd you figure it out, dumbass?" he says. And the boy goes, "I didn't figure it out. I literally just guessed as well as you did." And Henry says, "I didn't guess. We've been actually watching you. The 3 cabins are our home. When we heard your trucks, we knew we had new fun to play with." And he cracks his fingers. Henry Jr. comes from behind, turns on, and he's holding the knife now because the machete, or the chainsaw, got lodged into a tree because the idiot doesn't know how to run, like swinging a chainsaw over his head like Texas Chainsaw Massacre does. And he stupidly got caught into a tree. He's holding the knife now. And the stupid thing is, Henry Jr. can't tell. Must be blind as a fucking bat, because he looks at the family, his family, the boyfriend, the boy he's trying to kill his girlfriend, he thinks they're the same people because they're wearing the same clothes because they're both from the same state. So he's looking at him like an idiot, and the boy grabs Henry's machete knife, grabs the girl's knife, his sister's knife, throws it at Henry Jr. and pushes down Henry Sr. or Henry, and runs up the hill for the cliff to get to just lure one over there. Henry Jr. is about to go get him when Henry Sr. says, "No, this one's mine because I like pushing him off." Because Henry's been the one pushing him. He goes back up. He says, "I'm gonna push you off again, then I'm gonna rape your girlfriend and slaughter her like a whore." Something ticks inside the boy, and he starts wailing on him. Punch after punch, kick after kick. He picks him up from his shirt, goes over to the hill and says no more and lets go and pushes. Henry falls into the water where he hasn't took out the spikes. Through the head, through the eye, through the nose, through the mouth, through the heart, through a lung, through the arms, a vein, his fingers, and the boyfriend, the fingertips. On both hands and feet.
When you said lungs, that reminds me when I had a hole in my lung.
And one through the nuts. So that's gotta hurt a lot.
Oh shit.
To make it worse, his daughter goes over there, picks him up from the hands, and starts pulling him out because she's stupid. She took off her shoes, and Henry actually put glass on the bottom. So luckily that the boyfriend was wearing boots when he got pushed in the second, didn't fall in completely when he got his hand stuck. So she's ripping, and somehow the blades turned, so they're lodged and stuck, especially the one in his head that hasn't killed him yet. He's drowning, so she's pulling and cutting the holes deeper. So blood is literally going, the hole's making it deeper because she's like moving his hands in a circle because she's stupid like that. She stops because she doesn't think it's working. She tried it with its legs and the middle. Nothing's working, and he's dying now because he's got a giant hole. The thing that killed him, she grabbed him from the head and ripped up and up and up and up, and she went down on her hands and knees, grabbed him from the back of the head and ripped. The stick came out and fell out into the water and went the rest of the way through. Her father's dead. She's gonna go crazy. She gets up, she gets on her hands and knees and crawls to her brother. Grabs the glass like this, the pointed part with just her index and her thumb, and pulls out. Looks at the boy, the son, and his girlfriend, says, it was too hard getting him out of prison, out of the nut house, and now you're gonna either kill him or send him back in. She picks up a hatchet and runs to the girl. The boy luckily got down at the hill in time and put his hand like this, or in front of her face, and he pushed her.
Wait, which one was it? The one that he cut? With the fingertip things?
Yeah. He pushed her back, went like this. She put the knife through his middle and his ring finger through the wedge and went down through it. So his hand's in half to a stump. So imagine your thumb and middle index finger on one side and his finger and pinky on the other. She turns to her brother